All right, you guys, welcome in again to another episode of Third and Teal. I'm your host, Isaiah, aka Duval's Finest. Got Mr. Eric Talk over here. Mr. Talk, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Sorry I missed y'all last week, but I'm
Hey,
here in person today.
that's what I'm
Like I
talking about.
said
In
last
person.
week. Yeah. I'm on the
Yes,
screen, man.
sir. Oh,
Screen.
yeah. And I guess it's only fitting. Down below, we got Mr. Downs. Trevor Downs, how you doing?
Hey, man, we're another day, another time, another opportunity to talk about Jaguar football. Let's do it.
Yes, sir. Yeah, with that, we are again a sister channel to the Curtis Podcast Network, this AFC South show. There's also those other trash ones like Titan Takeaways, Unstabled. I did come up with that name because I'm better than them, whatever. And the Real Texas Team. I don't know about all that, but we're not here to talk about them. We're here to talk about some Jaguar football. We got some rule changes in the NFL. How are we feeling about the new kickoff?
Before we get to that,
Oh, okay.
Being I wasn't able to say it last week.
Okay.
Isaiah, I want to say your defense of Preston was pretty good last week, man. It really was. To the point that I went back and watched the Houston Texans and Jaguars game in Houston. And yeah, you made a lot of good points. Once I watched it, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. But also, say a lot what the fans are doing, and we do it too sometimes.
Absolutely.
We are not putting enough blame on Doug Peterson too, because some of them Doug can overrule, and he don't do it. You know, so if we gonna get on press as much as we do, we got to get on Doug also.
Absolutely.
They've been together for 7 years. So
one other thing I do want to mention now that you brought that up, and something I should have said last week that I did not. How many of those fourth down plays within the 40-yard line do you think Press Taylor would have kicked the field goal instead of went for it? I think he would have kicked the field goal majority of the time compared to Doug Peterson going for it.
Yes, I agree with that. I really do.
You go out, you get a kicker, you do all that, and then Press Taylor's probably thinking, all right, let's kick a field goal, and then he's got to come up with a play on fourth down, and he should know, but still, I think we kick a lot more field goals if Doug Peterson's not making the call to go for it on fourth so much. But I didn't think about that last week. I'm thinking about it now since you've said something. But yeah, thank you. I mean, like I said, not perfect, not a Press Taylor fan, but I definitely think that, like you said, we need to put more blame on the rest of the people, not just him.
Yeah, because if you look at that game with Houston, the second one, man, the offense really was clicking. Of course, really dropped the pass in the end zone, and
that's why he go.
Farrell dropped one in the end zone. Christian Kirk dropped the pass, and the sunshine hit him in the eyes. And I'm looking like, Trevor putting it on him. I mean, Trevor is making these throws, and and according to Next Gen Stats, Trevor does for some reason have a better passing percentage rolling left than he does right.
He does. He absolutely does.
Especially on deep passes. I don't know what it is. Maybe
you're so right, man. I think he does that run, but he cocks back like this and does like a jump through and jumps into the pass. And don't get me wrong, he's beautiful at it. The main point I was bringing up when it comes to the left roll was not so much that it's not Trevor's comfortability. It's more or less that we're still not catering to our guys by doing it. We knew that Cam Robinson was either injured or missing, and otherwise, no one's there to protect him. No one. I mean, we've got bodies standing there, but they're not stopping no one.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not stopping nobody. So we keep giving him – sometimes there is the phrase, and there's a reason for it, that you got to protect him from himself. You got to protect the player from himself. And unfortunately, that I feel like is one of those times because for a fact that a naked roll left is probably not going to last very long. He doesn't have very long. And our receivers for the longest point in the season just weren't getting open. They were not creating separation. So Trev was having to make too much happen with his legs, and he didn't have the protection to do it. He just didn't. So, again, that's where it came down to my point of not catering to who we have on the field. And that, as an offensive coordinator, that is your job. Don't get me wrong. Doug Peterson is to be blamed also. I don't disagree. I think, actually, that was one of my main points by saying that's why he got fired in Philly. because, again, he didn't take responsibility for the poor offensive decision-making.
Right.
And, I mean, I think poor is the best way to describe it. Those wasted runs did no good for us. The naked bootlegs to where we know we're going to the weak side of our line. Even though, regardless that Trevor is comfortable throwing that way, we know he can roll right too. We've seen that. Trevor is just good throwing on the run. He's just a beast at it. So
I agree.
That means he can roll either way. We should probably try to condition, if not just honestly make it happen where he rolls to the strong side of our line. So he's not standing literally in the sight of a semi-truck. I mean, it's just, and that's where my whole premise with that comes from, because I kept a tracker on that, because one of my biggest traits that I'm a fan of Trevor's is his throw on the run ability, his ability to move the pocket, but not only move the pocket, but be accurate from wherever he goes. And he doesn't have to set his feet to make a good throw. Exactly. And I love that about him. So you're absolutely right. He does have better rolling stats to the left side, but I just think we should have protected him more from himself.
I don't know that. I don't know.
And that's exactly what happened to his high ankle sprain. Point case. That should have never happened. First of all, we should have kicked the field goal. As you were just that should have been a field goal and get out of the half, or get out of the half, really.
Right.
Or not the half. It was like, what was it? Third? It was third quarter? It was third or fourth quarter. It was not the half.
It was third quarter. I think it was third quarter. No, was it? Or was it the fourth?
I don't know. It was third or fourth quarter, but we had a very bad night injury-wise. But that being said, dude, we literally were asking for it. I mean, especially if Next Gen Stats tells you that in these percentages, it's all about predictability. They tell you that we're going to probably roll left if it's a play action fake. We're going to roll left. We know the left side of our line is obviously banged up and trash right now. And then you just watch it. He just literally gets pushed over onto his leg.
Yep.
I'm back. I don't know. I don't know what happened. My Wi-Fi just randomly cut out, and then I switched from my 5G to my regular, and it worked again. You guys went quiet. I'm like, did they just lag out? And I'm like, there's no way both of them just did. I'm lagging out, and then everything.
No, we saw you the whole time. I saw you moving around.
Yeah, me too.
That's wild.
I did too. Yeah, and it was a play in that Houston game that really impressed me. Ezra Cleveland. I was like, oh yeah, it was a screen pass to Johnson. Man, and you look up and Ezra Cleveland, motoring down the sideline in front of him, just knocking folk out. I'm like, yeah, I like that. So, okay. I'm like,
that's what makes him one of my favorite extensions that we did.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I'm done. That's all I wanted to say about this week.
So, let's get into this new rule change talk. The new kickoff rule. Everybody starts making out with each other, just a couple yards apart. We got one guy returning. Now it's penalized to kick out of the back of the end zone. That's interesting to me. 35-yard line if you kick it out of the back of the end zone. So my thing is they're trying to promote safety, so they scoot everybody together. But the safest thing about the kickoff was kicking it out of the back of the end zone. So they're eliminating that. So now we're going to have more kickoff returns, but they're probably going to get pinned inside the 20 or so based on where they're lining up. I don't get it. I don't like it. Kickoffs have been done how they've been done for a very long time. It's bad enough they had them standing still instead of getting the running start. Which really didn't affect it that much. But this new rule, I don't know, man. What do you guys think?
Well.
Okay.
I watched it in the XFL US, which one of them leagues. I watched it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I like it.
Okay.
And I'm gonna tell you why. It's going to promote more better returns. When you watch a football game and they just kick it out the end zone, you're like, yeah, they're gonna kick it out, and it gets boring. And I think the NFL kind of did it to promote more offense, actually. They're saying, well, it's for player safety. No, that's not what it's for. Like you said, if that was the case, then yes, let them continue to kick it out the end zone. But that's not what they're doing. They want more returns because fans want to see the returners like Duvernay for one. The the guy we had before. I don't know why he Agnew. These returners, they back there for a reason. Let's get it. Now, the problem I have with it, and I was thinking about it earlier today, is how are they going to do the onside kick, though?
Yeah, it has to be announced. I don't know how that's going to work.
They're going to just take the onside kick out now? Because from where they got the two teams up, the onside kick is like useless now.
So, because it's not even possible for the away team or the receiving team to even get the ball. It would be
part of that rule though is that they have to announce onside kicks from now on. So that must mean they've got to shift it around to like the original way or something. I don't know. That's weird. It's gonna be weird.
Yeah, but that's how I feel. Go ahead, Trevor.
I think, man, I think I'm just gonna have to wait and see it play out to see how I feel, because they did it exactly why Eric said it. It's been stated way too many times, and as I've said multiple times on the pod already, and I'll continue to say it. Number one thing people seem to forget about this is it is still an entertainment business. So that being said, they've mentioned it so many times that we're in an offensive slump era, like just an offensive dark era is what they've literally labeled it as. Just offenses aren't scoring like they were, so they've made that clear that they want that to change. They've made it clear that it's a problem for them. So here comes this new kickoff rule. And I do like it for the simple fact that I think guys like Jamal Agnew will be exposed as nothing more than a couple lucky returners. Because 9 out of 10 times Jamal Agnew was not doing anything special on a kickoff return. He had a couple good ones, but I mean, everybody finds a golden egg in a field full of them. So,
but really, what is his job? To catch the ball, find a hole, and run.
And for some reason, he finds the only unopened hole and runs right at it.
Yeah, all of his touchdowns were like he ran into traffic, broke a tackle, and then took off. Like,
yeah,
it was never a clean return.
Got lucky from a trash tackle. Like, he didn't take a good line, he didn't take a good angle, he didn't make anybody miss. He just got off of a bad tackle and took off. So don't get me wrong, I'm glad that he was able to do those things, but I would like I like this for the simple fact that it will highlight those special returners, those guys those Devin Hesters of the time, like those guys that actually knew how to find the seam and blew it up. You're going to see, I think you'll see if the league has any more of those guys left. And, I think that's good. I don't like the fact that you're penalized for kicking through the back of the end zone, because that was a good strategic play as well. That played a lot of your special team strategy. Now you're kind of taking a lot of the strategy out of special teams. Really, I don't even think there needs to be a special teams coordinator anymore. What's the point? What's the point? He's a wasted spot on the payroll sheet now because he doesn't have to decide anything. He very rarely had to in the standard form and ways, but now he really doesn't have to decide anything. Hell, the head coach can look and see in practices who knows how to return a football. And then if they announce it's an onside kick, common sense tells you onside kick formation. Other than that, there's nothing else he can do. And when it comes to kickoffs, same thing. You know who your kicker is going to be. You know who your special teams guys are. You know who your body fillers are. So unless it's an onside kick, which the coach makes that call anyway, special teams coordinators do not decide whether or not it's going to be an onside kick. The head coach makes that call. And so that being said, take special teams coordinators and their staff off of the payroll list, in my opinion. I mean, it got rid of their jobs essentially. Now, maybe you keep a special teams quality control personnel, and you keep like health and trainers and stuff like that. And you maybe keep a couple just like, I don't know, like just mechanic trainers, like, hey, this is a good way to keep an angle. This, you know what I mean? But once this first season of it's over with, by the next year, everybody's got the kickoff routine down. You essentially deleted their jobs is what happened. And I think you're really either going to see an increase in injuries or a decrease to the point where almost everybody's getting a kickoff return touchdown, because you're going to see people breaking off the block, or you're going to see teams that know how to block really well.
Yeah.
And the main thing that made the kickoff teams almost unstoppable on the tackle and on the coverage is they already had a full head of steam at you.
Good point.
Okay, that's what it is. Now you're starting face to face. They got 10 yards to run at you. So what? 10 yards. Most people are just getting started.
Right.
Okay, most people are just getting their head of steam started. So you're going to see the guys that are either just maliciously ripping off blocks and are devastating tacklers, or you're going to see a bunch of pancake blocks and you're going to see a lot more kick returns. And that's what I think is going to happen. I think by penalizing the kick out of the back of the end zone, I think that makes it very clear that this was done for a scoring purpose standpoint, not a safety standpoint like they claim. But that's really all I've got to say about it. I can't think of too much more to say about the kickoff until I see it happen in the game, see it live, see how I feel.
So let me ask you a question. How many coordinators you think will actually decide to take the penalty and win?
Well, see, that's the harsh part. That's the harsh part, because then again, the coach would still make that call.
Right.
You think about it, if you're in a point where you got to kick it through the end zone, those type of calls are made by the coach.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like a Doug Peterson, for instance, he's not leaving that to a special teams coordinator. He's not doing it.
It's only 5 yards, actually. It's 5 yards between them, not 10.
Really? See, that's
5 yards. Yep.
That proves my point even more. There's nobody with a full head of steam running at anybody other than the returner.
Right.
The returner and the kicker are the only two people that are going to have a full head of steam running at anybody.
About to see Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker on fucking kickoff team, because they're the only people that are going to be able to shed a tackle and get out and also run fast enough to catch a guy. Like, it's
right, which is why I'm saying you're going to see those teams that are either good at block shedding, or you're going to see those teams that can pancake block, and the pancake blockers are going to have a hell of a lot of return touchdown increase. And
yeah,
I think, but like you said, those coordinators aren't never making that call anyway, because if you're in a crunch time situation where you feel like keeping the ball out of a returner's hand is key, the coach made that call. You already know he went over to the coordinator, said, "Hey, give this to the kicker. Let him know I want this ball through the back of the end zone. I don't want it returnable." Because 9 out of 10 times, I know a lot of coaches like for the returners to get the ball in their hands, because that's a good chance for a full speed, just absolute truck hit on someone. Absolute chance to level someone and take possession back forcefully. So now that they've deleted all that, I mean, in my opinion, you've essentially really gotten rid of any coordinator position on special teams.
Okay.
And then the next rule, I guess I'll ask Isaiah then. How do you feel about the depth of tackling?
Oh, dude, worst rule they've made in a long time.
Oh, it's awful.
There is absolutely zero reason to take that away. Very, very seldom do players actually get hurt as a result of a drop hit tackle. We've basically just made it to where the Derrick Henrys, Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley's, Jonathan Taylor's, basically all the bigger running backs, if they get into the second level, it's a touchdown.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, because now what's going to happen is you're going to see a lot more players diving for legs. You're going to see a lot more knee injuries from people putting their face mask right on somebody's knee. You're going to see a lot more ankle injuries from people diving at people's ankles. This does not help the health and safety standpoint of the league whatsoever. This is only going to increase the amount of injuries, in my opinion, for something that maybe hurt people, maybe had season-ending injuries once or twice a season. I couldn't tell you that, how often I actually see a drop hip tackle end in this. I played linebacker, D end. I played defense. I love defense.
Yes.
I'm not a drop hip tackle guy, because I was, 5'11", 195, 200 pounds, and I may have ran a 5 flat, but I put you on your ass if you came through the hole, and you in the open field, if I had to tackle a 240 pound, 6'3" player, I mean, if I get a hold of them and they're not going down, I'm dropping my ass underneath their legs. There's no question. I'll do whatever I have to do. But they basically just made it impossible for smaller corners and safeties. And this is going to bring on an age where you're probably going to see safeties get bigger and slower, because they're going to have to bring in and linebackers too. Linebackers are not going to be able to be as small as they've been getting. They're going to have to go back to have a bigger, beefier linebackers that maybe they only run a 4.7, but they're going to be able to tackle. They're going to be able to tackle a Derrick Henry. They're going to be able to tackle these guys. I hate it, honestly. I think that all they've done is made the league less safe because now there's going to be a lot more lower leg and knee injuries from this.
Yep.
And the interesting thing, every year when it comes to the rules committee, there's some team that has lost a player that comes up with a rule that they feel needs to be implemented. Now, this rule here, I agree with you. It's crazy. And I thought about it, I'm saying, so basically this is going to be under interpretation of the referee, basically what he consider, is the illegal tackle. And are they going to make the penalty reviewable? You see what I'm saying?
Not.
But I think they should, because this is a fine line with this new rule. It's a very fine line, and in a championship game, you may throw this flag. I think the 15-yard penalty can make the difference between you winning and losing the game.
Perfect example. Tennessee Titans will be Super Bowl champion if that's the flag at the time.
I saw that. Yeah. So, I'm sure they're going to tweak it as they go along, but I think for right now, they should make it reviewable. They should.
Absolutely.
First thing they said was that it would probably be very rarely called, and I think that's because they already know how fine of a line this is.
Yeah.
My thing too about it is,
personally, every flag period should be reviewable. I don't think there should be a flag thrown on the field that's unquestionable. I don't think that should be a thing at all, because personally, I think back to the holding call of Anton Harrison in overtime when C.J. Beathard threw an absolute dime to Calvin Ridley. We should have went up and won the game against the Bengals on primetime, and we got screwed. I was so pissed, and they replayed it on the screen for all of us, but if that had been a reviewable flag, that play absolutely stands. The flag gets dropped. No freaking question. It's not even
the worst part about it, though, is even if they make it reviewable, refs aren't going to change the call, whether it's obvious or not. Just like the PI when they did that stuff for pass interference, the refs basically all stood up together and said, "No, we're not changing our call. You're just going to deal with it." There were I think there were in the first season of reviewable pass interferences, I think there were only 2 that were actually overturned out of like 50 or 60 flags that were thrown for reviewing it. Because refs are just going to stand up and say, "No, we called it. We're not changing our call because you want to review it," which is terrible. They should be fined. I've said this before. A referee should be fined for a blown call. For an obvious call that can be overturned, that can be blown, they should absolutely be fined. They should be suspended. If it's like a game-altering call, they should be suspended. Again, because of the fact that the league is for entertainment, and if it goes along with what the league wants, they're not going to do that. But absolutely, I think that it should be all penalties. I wouldn't say all penalties. Just because of the fact that I know they only get 2 challenges a game, but there's face mask. It's pretty hard to call a face mask and there not be a face mask.
Well, that's fair.
I think that offensive face masks should be called more. I think that a lot of these running backs and wide receivers are yanking dudes down by their grill. And then I know like last year in the preseason, there was Damian Tomlinson's nephew is a corner for the Rams, and he face masked somebody while they were holding on to his face mask, and he got called for the penalty, not them.
Yeah.
It's like, but I agree, though, any major penalty, especially a personal foul type penalty, which I know that includes face mask, I feel like they should be reviewable. But definitely this new drop hip tackle, because there's times when dudes just get slung around somebody and they land weird. That doesn't automatically make it a drop hip tackle. That's just how 2 bodies hitting at 200 pounds works. It's
and sometimes it's just momentum.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
Just momentum. So yeah, we'll see. But actually, I think they're talking about making 3 challenges. If they win the first one, they get an extra one. So that basically makes it 3. I think I read. So yeah, I think they're looking at that also. So 3 challenges will be all right. If you win, yeah,
I think you go a long way into keeping referees in line.
Yeah, I do too. Okay.
What's the other one? The one that I liked. Oh man. Trade deadlines now after week 9 instead of week 8.
Yes.
I mean, we have an 18-week season now. It needed to be week 9. Get that extra week. I don't think there's any reason it should have ever been 8 weeks when we moved to the 17-game, 18-week season. What I think is happening, and I think is going to happen within the next 3 or 4 years, I think that they are going to take away another preseason game potentially and make it an 18-game season.
Yep.
Purely to make more money. Some people don't go to preseason games just because they're preseason. Like stadiums don't fill up. I think that they should leave it at 17. As much as I would love to see more football, these guys need rest. But at the same time, I could easily see that happening within the next 3 or 4 years. They're gearing up these rules to quote unquote make it safer and do all this stuff. And they might try and switch to an 18-game season. My question though for you guys with that, and just because that's before we talk about the week 9 stuff, this is just purely speculation. If we go to an 18-game season, do we have a separate record book for 18-game seasons?
Oh yeah,
you would have to.
Yeah, because I know already we've got shorter seasons that were played back in the day as record holders, but like once we get to 18, I mean, we are well above what other players were playing at that point.
Right.
It's no longer like a LeBron versus MJ debate where they're still playing the same game of basketball. It's,
right.
Now we're looking at a wide receiver busting Jerry Rice's records after an 18-game season versus 16.
Yeah, where in 6 years he's playing 2 more games. It's right. Like or 12 more, not 2 more. Geez, that's a lot of games. But just speculation. I don't know if it's going to happen. There's been no talk about it, but I could easily see it going to an 18-game season.
Well, it's moving that direction. It's just been a slow move. It's been a slow move consistently.
When they with the addition of more games overseas and what have you, I can see them going to 18. I really can, because they're just trying to play football all over the world. Basically.
Yeah, because I can tell you now that I'm a season ticket holder as well. Even before I was a season ticket holder, we did go to games and bundled up game packs and stuff like that.
Right.
I'm personally pissed off about forfeiting a home game for an overseas game.
Exactly.
The hell with that. I want nothing to do with that.
Wish me luck, by the way. I have my auto renewal, and they're giving away a bunch of shit. And one of them is Trevor Lawrence signed jersey. There's some signed balls and there's some stuff. So because I had the auto renew, they're giving away like 400 prizes. Wish me luck.
All right.
But
hey, question: our season tickets are good for preseason games as well, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Those are included in the 9 games we're getting this year, or whatever it is.
Yeah, because we get 8 home games, 9 away, and then obviously if we have any preseason homes, I don't know if we do or not. I didn't see the preseason schedule.
You have at least one. You got to have at least one.
Yeah.
But I would honestly, personally, I think one preseason game is enough. I think you play your first quarter, you play your starters, let them get their feet wet. Second quarter, bring in your second stringers, so on and so forth. And then like in between your second and third stringers, work your rookies in. That's where you'll know what you got. I think that's plenty. I think you forfeit the preseason game for a regular season game. The guys are still playing the same amount of football, but we get to watch more meaningful football. And I'll take that trade all day, especially considering I like the way that a team can't go on a 4-game hot streak and completely be in a lock for the playoffs. I'm not necessarily a fan of that. I think hot streaks come and go. I want to see the team that's the most consistent throughout the season. I want to see the team that can win even in their slumps be there. I don't want to see the team that just got hot at the right time. Now, don't get me wrong. That is the name of football. It's the nature of the beast. I still do love the sport for everything it is. I do enjoy seeing teams go on a hot streak at the end of the season, being a bust in the playoffs like we were the year before, like just busting down the door, making it to the divisional. I did love that. It makes a great story. But we went on what, like a 9-game streak. Like it wasn't just a quick little streak to bust in. Like we had to play it, and we had to play good, and we had to play a lot. And that's what I liked. That's what made the story memorable. That's what made it worth it. Okay, I think you extend the season a little more, give the guys another game, which means there is more room for growth. And I also enjoy watching a team mesh together throughout the season. I'm a fan of that.
So if we go 18 games, do we expand the rosters?
I don't think so.
I think what will happen is you'll probably get additional game day spots, but not necessarily like more than actually suiting up like the same number. I think it's what 48 suit up out of the total 52, right?
Yeah.
Or is it 47 or somewhere? It's somewhere around there. It's like it's high 40s, and then you get 52 total, or 54, 52. 52 man roster. It's 53. 53. You're right. You're right. 53 man roster.
Yeah.
And then we can carry an extra quarterback. So I would see them adding maybe some more taxi spots where you can have a couple more guys suited up for game day, but not necessarily on the active. But we'd have to see. I mean, that would be interesting. You know, do they go to 55 or 56?
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, at the end of the day, I think they might still say like, oh, it's the same thing as always. Just sign more guys if your guys get hurt. You know, like I don't know how they would handle that. It is the NFL. You know, we'll see.
Expand practice squad.
That's true too.
I couldn't be in favor of expanding the actual active roster for a couple reasons. One, I think these guys do get a lengthy offseason. Okay, they get time away. Don't get me wrong, they play hard. They play hard for 6 months. You know, they play hard. They work hard, but that means half the year that they're not working. Okay. That being said, I think availability is one of the best abilities to have as a player is availability. And I think you're not showcasing that you're that guy for us if we're just adding spots because you're tired. Like I would be disgusted to see starters resting like the NBA does. I'd be disgusted. I'd be absolutely disgusted. I hate that in the NBA. I hate it.
Yeah,
like
that's why
I don't either because I don't want to watch two different teams play under the same banner. I don't want to watch that.
Right.
I mean, it's too much to follow. I just don't want to. I'm watching these guys. I'm watching my players. I'm watching the players that I'm a fan of, these guys that I give my heart and soul to be there for. They give their heart and soul in the field to produce for. I want to see them play, and I don't want to see excuses just because they have to play one more game. I'm not a fan of that. I think, again, it goes back to availability is the best ability, and I think Trevor Lawrence is a perfect example of that. It's one of the things that make me love him so much as our quarterback. If he can play, he will. You know, and that's what I like. I don't like the bailout option, and I feel like expanding the roster is a bailout option for some of these guys. It's obviously not going to be a bailout option for everybody. They can't expand it by that many spaces, but I don't like the idea of it at all. I don't want a bailout option for nobody. If you want to play football, you're going to play football. That means you're going to be on the field when the ball is snapped. That's just how it works. I mean,
okay.
Yeah.
What
you put it that way, I can't. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
So what else we got, boys? Any Jaguars news we want to talk about a little bit?
I think the biggest thing I saw was that guy going to prison.
220 years.
220 years. Now, I don't know the specifics, so I can't mention it too much, but man.
That's a lot of times.
Yeah, for what he did, man, hey.
$20 million, bro. That's crazy. Yeah.
No, the guy that got 220 years was because he was filming underage pornography.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I was thinking it was the same guy.
No, the guy that
he hacked the Jumbotron. He did a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, well, the crazy part for me is like people are like, oh, the Jaguars are such a poverty franchise. But when you've got people like this inside the organization that are a literal cancer, I mean, it's not an excuse for our lack of leadership from our ownership in these cases, but I mean, I will say I'm just surprised at any success we've made. I mean, we had a guy literally embezzle millions from us, man. Millions. And then we got a guy literally like, ugh. Yeah. I don't want to say it again. Just
enough said.
Enough said.
All right.
What about positive things? Let's talk about positive things.
Okay. Dwayne Smoot. We keep him and let him walk. Dwayne Smoot.
I'd let him walk personally.
Last year he was coming off the Achilles or whatever. So it takes a minute to get over that. Trust me.
Oh, yeah.
I know
100%.
I say keep him.
I think go ahead, Eric.
No, I was saying keep him. I say keep him.
I would say let him walk.
Why? Why would you let him walk?
I mean, if this was pre Eric Armstead, I'd say keep him. But I think adding Eric Armstead to the roster, I think Big Roy is more valuable than Smoot at this point in time. I think that Devon Hamilton needs to develop. I know we let go of Fadakasi, but I think with the addition of Eric Armstead, I say go get a young guy. Don't overpay for Smoot. And if we didn't have Eric Armstead, I'd say bring him back. For a couple million. But I think with Eric Armstead, I just don't see him getting as much play time, and I think we'd have to kind of overpay him a little bit to keep him to stay because I know he wanted to leave last year and we overpaid for him a little bit. I understand he was coming off an Achilles, but for me personally, I think the D line is too strong to bring back a rotation player like that when we could draft one for a lot cheaper and and keep him a lot longer. That's my point, at least. I want to see what you guys think, though, because I know y'all both said keep him.
Man, I got to say keep him for a couple reasons. One, I don't think that the 3-4 is the way we're going to stay full time. I don't think we're going to stay 3-4 full time. Ryan Nielsen did a lot of 4-3. I think we would benefit from a 4-3 scheme personally. I think if we go 4-3, you see Devon Hamilton, Roy Robertson Harris, and Dwayne Smoot all share that other interior D lineman spot. And whoever doesn't share that spot swaps in and out with Eric Armstead. But I think keeping Dwayne Smoot, along with the two guys we have, gives us the flexibility to have an experienced player that can play that 4-3 for us. Because if we let him walk, we've got two guys. That means two guys can switch in and out. One has to be a relief for Eric Armstead, and that leaves one to occasionally play in the 4-3.
Whoa. Hold on. Pump the brakes. We cannot sit here and act like Tyler Lacey is not on the roster.
No, we can't.
Now he might not be an experienced vet, but Tyler Lacey is bigger, stronger. I'm just saying when he played last year, he played well. Right. I think with the new guys, let him walk. But I'm just gonna say we can't forget about Tyler Lacey. He's in the building, and he will be taking reps at those spots too.
Okay, he flashed a few times. Yeah, he flashed a few times. But
he played in the 4-3. He played in the 4-3 in college too.
Right. Well, he's still valuable. I'm not saying that. I think really I do agree with you on the fact of definitely don't overpay for him. I think his price tag would definitely be the decision maker for me. But if we can bring him back on $1.5 million, $2 million deal, maybe, but $1 million, $1.5 million, I'm definitely bringing him back. Absolutely bringing him back. No questions asked, because Dwayne Smoot definitely has flashed more than Lacey. Has definitely shown more consistency than Roy Robertson Harris when he's not injured. I think personally, Dwayne Smoot actually has the potential to be better than Roy Robertson Harris in every category if he's not injured. So that being said, I think he comes back healthy, and I think, as a rotational piece or even as that second interior D lineman right beside Armstead, I think they destroy any interior offensive line in the league. I think we'd be dumb to let him walk, because even though we could draft something cheaper, that means we got to train something cheaper, and we get what we pay for. That seems to be our problem. I mean, again, I've brought this up so many times. I'll keep bringing it up. Jalen Ramsey, our secondary, went straight down the toilet when we refused to pay the man, and we got what we paid for was an inexperienced, under-talented secondary. That's what we got. I think, we have to pay $2 million to keep him here. I think it's worth it. If nothing else, I would let a guy like Taylor Lacey potentially go when it's his time. I mean, he did have flashes, but an uninjured Dwayne Smoot, I think, is better.
Now, sir, I will not continue to sit here and listen to this Tyler Lacey slander. Okay. DeJuan Smoot, Mr. flashed more than Tyler Lacey.
Oh,
okay. So DeJuan Smoot graded out at an overall 42.4. Now, this is according to PFF, so take it as you'd like. He had a 38.4 grade versus the run. He had a 50 versus the pass. Okay. Now, he did play more snaps. I will give him that. 230 pass rush snaps, 870 run defense snaps. Okay. He had a couple stops, had a sack, had a couple hurries, had the same amount of hits as Tyler Lacey. And Tyler Lacey played less than half of the snaps that he played. I will put that on the record. Tyler Lacey, 59.1 versus the run and 55.3 versus the pass. in only 145 snaps, got the exact same amount of stops as Dawon Smoot. Had 3 hits, 2 hurries, 5 total pressures on less than half the snaps. 9 solo tackles, 5 assists. Bro, whenever he played it, he was cooking.
No, to my sound like you were prepared for this argument.
I was not, but I won't sit here and let Trevor slander a young man who is doing quite well. You can come right back, but I'm just saying, this is slander. I will not stand for it. Dwayne Smoot had a bad year last year. I'm not going to act like he wasn't coming off of an injury. He was. But you're not going to put down my boy Tyler Lacey and act like somebody else flashed more whenever he was worse.
Well, okay. I'll give you this. Tyler Lacey shined when he was given the opportunity. Dwayne Smoot coming off the injury, we recognize that. But let's not forget, though, people scheme different against different different, available players, like different roster people. Like they're going to scheme different, okay? I think they saw Tyler Lacey as a replacement player and thought they could attack him. I'm not saying he's not a solid player. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying on a more consistent basis, I've seen Dwayne Smoot take on more double teams to allow sacks off the edge. I've seen Dwayne Smoot draw more of that inside attention that allows our edge rushers to take the game over. Tyler Lacey's still good. I'm not saying he's not good. I do think repetition wise, just overall football knowledge wise, IQ wise, I'm bringing Dwayne Smoot back as long as he's affordable. I'm not going to overpay for him.
Right.
I would rather put him on the field than Tyler Lacey. I'm not saying that I wouldn't put Tyler Lacey on the field at all. I would definitely put Tyler Lacey on the field. He plays solid football. He's a solid player. I just think more time and experience. And yes, I think a year or two from now, Tyler Lacey's who I'd re-sign and let Dwayne Smoot walk. I just don't think that time is here yet. But I do have to tell you something. I just got a notification, and this is actually pretty wild because this guy is going to be insane in my opinion. The Chiefs just signed a rugby star, Louis Rizami.
Yeah, that dude. That
guy is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, dude's already shredded and he's used to taking hits without the pads. What do you think he's going to do when he's protected, dude?
See, one of the things, though, is a lot of rugby players come over and try to play football and can't do it, but a lot of football players can play rugby and be good at it.
That's fair. You're absolutely right.
I will say that while they don't have pads, a lot of their contact is they start out on top of each other. Now, they do have a lot of open field big hits. I will not say that they do not. But I will say that it is much easier for a football player to convert to rugby than a rugby player to convert to football. Now, that dude is an athletic freak, and he is a phenom in the rugby game. I will not take that from him. And I think he will be really good, just like Kyle Juszczyk whenever he came over. But
Kyle Juszczyk's a problem.
Dude's a big problem. He has been his entire career. So this guy, we'll have to see. I think he could be really good. I just think that we got to give him some time to convert and see if he can do it. But he might be in rugby in 2 or 3 years again.
I think he's got the best situation to come into as a rugby player ever. He's coming in one of the most knowledgeable coaches of all time. Oh, yeah. I mean, if there's anybody that's going to help this guy learn the differences, it's Andy Reid. And
yes,
Andy Reid is going to make this guy a stud.
I agree.
What do you think he plays, though? He's going to play running back?
He's going to play running back, receiver, both. He's going to switch.
Yeah, make him the fullback. Make him the fullback.
I'll tell you what, though.
I don't think he's quite big enough to be a fullback. I think
he's not. He's not. He's more of like a, I don't know, Leonard Fournette type build.
What's his name again?
Reese something Zamet or Louise. I was just looking at it. It's Louis Reese Zamet.
Okay. I'm sure you butchered that, but okay, that's close.
Yeah, I definitely butchered it.
Yeah.
I mean, Louis Reese Zamet is. I mean, that's how it's. I mean, that's how it's spelled. I don't know.
That's how it's spelled. That's how it is.
Actually, he's 6'3", 194 pounds. I mean, he's actually a pretty big dude. He could play fullback if he put on about 30 pounds.
Yeah.
They already announced he's running back receiver. He's
yeah. I mean, he's going to start there, but you never know.
Yeah.
Who
He's
knows?
only
He
22.
may be Kelsey's replacement.
Oh,
Hey, he could be.
oh.
You like
Kelsey's
that?
not going to retire until he gets another ring.
Yeah.
Kelsey-
All right,
Yeah.
boys. What else we got in Jaguar Town? I know we had dinner with Malik Neighbors the other night. Maybe there's a little trade up going on there. We'll have to see.
That'd be great.
I know. Yeah.
Do y'all really think there's a possibility of us trading up?
It's possible.
I think we would trade up for Odunze because I think we can realistically afford him. I think Balky's too stingy to trade up for Malik Neighbors. But you never know. I mean, and one thing too, I mean, if the Cardinals are shopping 4 and MHJ drops there or Neighbors is there, I mean, we might pull the trigger and move up. It's going to cost a lot of capital. I think more than we're going to be willing to do. But I could see us moving up to like 9 or 10 with the Bears, trading up with them to 9 and trying to get Neighbors if he's there at 9.
Yeah. I could see Balky making a reckless decision occasionally. I think depending on how that dinner went, I think that'll tell. I know
they like good guys.
Yeah, and the other big thing would be that we know he's targeting Ricky Pearsall. Absolutely targeting Ricky Pearsall.
Yeah, you can basically say that.
Oh, well, yeah, because, I mean, he sent our camera crew down there for the YouTube series we do called The Hunt, and as soon as he found out that Ricky Pearsall opted out of Pro Day in Florida, he canceled the crew, and he didn't show up himself either.
Yep.
That makes it clear that's who he was there to see, that's who he's targeting. I think that's a clear-cut sign that we're looking for him round 2.
Okay. So, what grade y'all give Balky for this free agency so far? What grade y'all give?
I mean, I'd still have to go with an A personally.
Yeah.
I think the signing of Joey Sly, because originally, of course, we lost the other kicker. I think this guy's better than Lutz. He's got a much stronger leg than Will Lutz. But I'd give him an A for the overall class.
Okay.
Agreed.
Especially with the Darnell Savage being put at nickel and then giving AJ the start at strong safety. I think that was a good pickup.
Absolutely. And I think to top it off, the Eric Armstead.
No kidding.
Yeah, I'll give him an A too, but mine is because I think he's handling the salary cap a lot better this time than he did last time. Because remember, we still got to sign Trayvon, and next year's Trevor and Travis.
We got Trayvon for another 2 to 3 years if we take his 5th-year option.
Yeah.
Because this is only his 2nd year out. So considering, let's just assume we take the 5th-year pickup on him, we've got 3 more years of Trayvon.
Okay.
I think our biggest concern is going to be, obviously, we're right back in the same boat with Josh Allen at the end of next year. We're going to pick up the 5th year on ETN. There's no way we give ETN the extension before we have to. Not because he doesn't deserve it. Yeah.
You don't think they're gonna sign? We gonna sign Josh before July 15th? Is it July 15th?
I honestly don't know. It's hard to say because, man, it's hard to say. We let Evan Ingram hang out on the franchise tag for a hot minute too. We really did, but I mean, I think Balky is smart with the tag. I'll give him that because he does wait out free agency to see what he can do and then see what he has left. And I'll give him that. That's a smart move. But I feel like I don't know where the money would come from personally. I just
for Josh.
Where the Josh Allen money's going to sign him big time.
Yeah, we would automatically lose. We would automatically game salary cap if we re-sign him because he wouldn't be fully guaranteed the 25 million.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about for next year because we're looking into next year too.
So they throw void years on his contract too and shit like that. Salary cap isn't real. If we've learned anything from the Rams and the Bills and all these other teams, the Bengals, the Chiefs, salary cap isn't real. We know it's not.
No, I can agree there. I just think, looking at the numbers, especially coming into next year, all the guys that are going to have to have something done.
It's going to be tight.
It's really tight. It's going to be really tight. I think it's possible, but they can't fuck around on Josh Allen.
But I think one thing too that the people are not thinking about, and it's hard to sign based on this because it's projection, but if the NFL has another really good year, which it's gearing up to have another really good year, the salary cap's probably going up another $20-something million next year, just like it did this year. So we could see another very big jump. It's been going up more and more every year. We could see another big jump in salary cap next year, and they might sign based off projection, and then make moves if they have to down the line.
I think the free structure was one of my favorite things.
Mm-hmm. It ended up saving us a lot more than the initial $5 million they said. It was like 9 or 8 or 9 or 10, wasn't it?
Yeah. And that's one of my favorite things. Honestly, I would have cut him a lot more if I could get away with
it. Maybe cut him outright. Who knows?
Hey, it would not hurt my feelings to see that we traded him for a better draft capital piece. We could replace him in the draft.
Yeah.
I mean, our rookie is outshining him game in and game out. So
yeah. What we got anything else before we wrap it up here, boys? I think we might be at a good point unless somebody else got something to say.
No, I think we hit a stop point for me.
Yeah, Eric, I'm good.
Okay. it was nice to have you back in the flesh on the camera, Eric.
Yeah.
Definitely nice. I'll let you know how Johnny Wilson's season goes at tight end. In our franchise, I'll give you some updates every week.
Right.
Hey, don't we gotta start posting stats in the pod.
Yeah, like 6'6", 6'7", 230 pounds. It's hard not to move him to tight end with 90 speed. All right, guys, let's wrap it up here.
One moment. Watching the Texan Jaguar game earlier, I could see Johnny Wilson going down the seam. I mean, I'm like, oh my gosh, because Trevor threw one that was high, and Kirk couldn't. I mean, Zay Jones couldn't get it, but I just envisioned
Johnny Wilson can get that.
Yeah, just like just going down. I'm like, yeah, we get him about the 4th or 5th round. I think that'd be grab.
If he's there in the 5th, I'd say grab him. Depending on what we grabbed in the first couple rounds, and honestly, I think we could beef him up, and he might be able to play tight end for us. I don't know. He could be dangerous. The blocking, he's a good blocker for his size at receiver. My thing too, though, is he would be a taller, more athletic Evan Ingram, because Evan Ingram, we're not putting him out there to block people. We're putting him out there to look pretty and catch footballs.
That's good.
I mean, literally, Doug Peterson literally said the only reason we don't move him to wide receiver is so we don't have to pay him wide receiver money.
Yeah. And that's why it took so long to sign him last year. But, I could see it. If he's there, I'd go for him. But, anything else, boys?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. Hey, that's a good point, though. If he's there, let's pull the trigger. Let's do something. But, I think that's a good place to wrap it up. As always, you guys make sure to like and subscribe. If you made it this far, thank you. If you didn't, that's cool. You'll be here eventually. We're out here putting out these videos. We're growing. Tell your brother, tell your dog, strap a note to an RC car and drive it around. I don't really care what you got to do. Get us out there. If you don't enjoy our videos, fuck you. No, I'm just kidding. Come back. But let's wrap it up here, guys. Thanks for coming on again. Thanks as always. And go Jags.
Duval.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.